Assassin.
Bat Rider.
Or Nyx
Oh my god, I
Assassin.
need to drink some.
Ripping your throat on Bat Rider. Would you say it's almost like a flame burning in your throat?
10 seconds remaining.
End up being fireflied.
5 seconds
Does it
remaining.
feel more like a sticky napalm?
Oh, this is Seattle water.
Wonderful water. I'm sorry. Like, Seattle has the greatest water in the world. Sorry, it can't be as good as your Danish stuff.
I miss my Danish water.
Ugh.
That's alright. There's other good stuff here, but the water is just not.
I
Nothing
miss-
beats Scandinavian water, man.
I
That's the
miss
best.
my mountain Australian water.
10
That was
seconds
good water.
remaining.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah. And of course, water being the counter to a Bat Rider, Morphling. Invictus Gaming.
I think we're gonna see the Nyx again.
Segway.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna go for Nyx plus. What did they get? Last game they got Disruptor.
Yeah.
Might see Nyx plus something else this time around, but
You find another counter to the Bat Rider.
for example, they could get like Nyx Oracle if they wanted. They could get the next Disruptor again would be fine.
Well, no surprise, the Nyx Assassin.
And we could see something like Nyx. I don't think they want to run Dazzle into this. They could also just pick a core that's good against Bat Rider and it's like a flexible laner. They could grab the Weaver now if they wanted. I don't think it's the best choice, but
They could also do their Darkseer. If you want to go back into that, it was very successful in the last game. Caused real problems for DC in their team fight.
I think the reason Darkseer was as good as it was the Drow. And DC will not grab that now if they pick Darkseer here. I don't think that's the way to go. It is a bit early to show a DS. I think it can definitely work. I think it's a better choice than picking, for example, the Weaver now. I like the Darkseer option, and I like the support option. Offlane or support here seems like good choices. They're taking their time, which is interesting because this is the same draft as last game.
Maybe they're...
All right, they do go for that Weaver.
They're gonna
Okay.
go for the Weaver.
Yeah, well...
Maybe they're
okay.
tossing up the same thing you were just like, maybe it's not great to reveal it now, but at least DC know what they're up against. And they need better lockdown control than they had last time around.
The advantage Weaver has is that it can go in multiple lanes, but at this point it's not a support. I think this support duo sounds really awful, even with like Drow. You don't want to go for this, so they show a bit of their hand that way, but at the same time, Weaver is one of those picks that I feel like you can counterpick Weaver pretty hard, but if Weaver has the right lineup around it, you can compensate a lot for Weaver's weaknesses. Like Weaver's problem is if he gets silenced and bursted, or if there's like high spell damage. But if they see DC are going in that direction with their draft, they still have 3 picks to adjust to try to give their Weaver a good game. And if there's one thing that's very good for IG, I think it's just play Burning on Comfort Heroes a lot. He is exceptional on a lot of different carries. Just make sure you get them for him and give him a good game. Shaker.
We should kind of be sad we didn't get the anti-mage from Burning.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't think they would have picked that now.
No, it would have been picked now, but it's like, if you're talking about comfort heroes for Burning.
For sure. Morphling is also one of his
we
greats.
double up on the same hero.
10 seconds
Yeah,
remaining.
Morphling. The hero who seems to be the absolute spectacle now for Newbee against OG.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Alright, so Invictus Gaming, ban out the Meepo. It's something to always keep in the back of your mind, because DC are one of those teams that could play that Meepo.
They didn't ban it last game. I wonder what prompts it this time around.
It didn't really fit though, like when you...
They had the Drow.
When you already have the draw in the first phase,
Yeah,
then it
they
makes
had
no sense to ban the Meepo in the second.
5 seconds
But
remaining.
it's probably just Invictus Gaming going, you know what, we're going to play against comfort heroes. Also, like, we want you to not have your comfort heroes, but more importantly, we don't have like heroes which we don't know how to play against, have very little experience playing against.
Yeah.
So
It's just
remove
that
the Meepo.
other teams in the past have been first phase banning the Meepo against DC because they believe DC could pick it. For example, in this Shaker position, that could have been a Meepo.
Yeah.
I think they could have done that if they wanted to. I think Meepo is good against Weaver and good against Nyx, so that was a possible choice.
I need him to pick Meepo. I have Meepo as like the highest GP experience per minute.
Yeah, me
Hero.
too. That was a bad choice, I think. We're not going to see it 5 games.
Maybe.
10 seconds remaining.
Who knows?
Maybe. We also thought we'd see more Arc Warden, but we only got 1 or 2 of them yesterday, maximum.
Yeah.
It was, very depressing.
Depressing.
Yeah.
It's maybe a bit extreme.
Well, I like the Arc Warden. Makes it that fun. It's like watching a horror film. Supports walking across the map. You never know what tree someone's going to jump out of and just murder them.
Lovely.
Yeah. The horror of
It's
Dota.
not my kind of movie.
You're not a horror film person?
Absolutely not.
I struggle with them.
Why do you deliberately watch something that scares you? What part of your brain is dysfunctional when that's something you
Every
enjoy?
part of your brain.
Every part.
But what's worse is when you then go to bed after watching it, and then your dreams, like, I don't know about you, but my dreams are in full HD and color.
Oh.
So it's,
Like reality.
yeah,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine too, actually.
it's actually scary as hell after I watch a horror film. I think I'm actually going to shite myself. Alright, back to the game. Throw a ranger
That's an
band out.
image I didn't need, I think. Okay, so Alk is gone, and now Drow is gone. So we've got a couple of bands from either team that were played last game. So this is the adaptation we've seen. Let's see if... So, what would IG run mid on OP instead of the Alchemist? There's a couple of picks for OP that could be interesting here. I think Ember Spirit has a place in this game, perhaps. That is one choice. Oh, Legion Commander ban here. It's trying to safeguard their Batrider a bit more. OP could have maybe played a Legion. I could see that. Or it could have been played by XXS. They are leaving through the Darkseer again. But this time they don't have the Drow. So, I try to counter him in ways.
I just want to see how the rhythm of this game is going to go. These next two picks are going to give us exactly that. You got your jump in initiation, you got your AoE from DC, you've got your invis and very buggy nature. Like, maybe Digital Chaos just needs to draft in Tommy Lee Jones as well as Will Smith. That's the way to beat the bugs, right? I saw Men in Black.
Yeah, I could see that.
Could Earthshaker be Tommy Lee Jones?
What hero is Tommy Lee Jones, Toby?
I don't know. Earthshaker looks like his face is very Tommy Lee Jones. We just need to age him by like 50 years. Old Earthshaker would be Tommy Lee Jones. So
I don't really know where you're going with it.
I already went there.
You, not the draft.
Oh.
Okay, Rubik is gonna be picked up here, and there is the Night Stalker. So let's go over a bit here. So they picked Rubik mainly against Shaker, but it's also it's like a pseudo counter to Batrider because you have an instant stun when he blinks in and grabs someone. So if you're in range for the lift, you can counterplay. It's not that easy with Rubik compared to like Oracle, but it's doable. Oracle spell has longer cast range.
It's not going to be that easy with the Vision game. This is the combination we saw so many times yesterday, the Night Stalker and the Batrider together.
Yes, it's very strong. I think Night Stalker is very good in this patch. Highest ban rate so far in the tournament by a couple. And comfort pick for DC here. See if they can organize their game in a way where... So this is IG trying to enforce a playstyle, basically. The one thing Night Stalker doesn't like, he doesn't like these very five-man centric games where he doesn't get to like skirmish or wrap around or use his scouting to enable split pushing or something like that. His biggest weakness is 5-man. So IG just pick a really beefy frontliner that wants to 5-man, and a hero that you can't counter with either Night Stalker Silence or Batrider Grab. If he procs Kraken against these heroes on the Radiant, he will get Ravage off. So I like this pick. I like the idea from IG. The question is how the rest of the lineup plays into a Tide game, because this is not really a classic Tide lineup, I think, the rest of their heroes. But as just a counterpick to DC's plans, this is a very clever choice from Q.
So yeah, it ties together. And the DC cores, where is now the heavy physical damage going to come from? You're already running... Actually, what exactly are you running here, support-wise? You push the Bat to the off? Earth to the off?
I think you put Shaker off lane. As Shaker Night Stalker support duo sounds really weird.
Yeah, in fact, like either of picking two of these heroes together seems a little bit odd.
Yeah.
Like with DC having to support Batrider in a way, it makes sense, but
yeah, I think the best choice is probably put Shaker off lane. But we'll see. Maybe we get some more information here. Let's go by. Here comes TA.
So they're looking for damage and tempo control. They didn't have any kind of big burst damage. They were lacking that in the last game, even with the Queen of Pain. But now it's physical, not magical.
In addition to that, IG's lineup is fairly, I want to say, a bit slow. Tide wants to farm up a bit, and he's not like one of those playmaking offlaners. He needs to play this group up, like we talked about, group up 5-man style. But since IG's lineup isn't that fast at enabling that playstyle, they can maybe go a bit greedy and play this TA-style mid-hero that farms a lot and gets really strong. TA has... This isn't like the greatest TA game, but it's pretty good, and it's about comfort picks as well. You get Abed a good matchup in this mid lane, or a hero that he's very comfortable playing, and just try to control the map with your support duo and buy the time necessary to let both of your cores have a good game.
I like the way Q's mind works. He's like, okay, if they are going to play this faster style of game, the Ursa Warrior, it's going to give you that. It'll give you the Aegis to the Immortal earlier. It'll allow you to be very aggressive.
Seconds remaining.
It's an awful matchup for Tide as well. It's like one of the worst lane matchups. If you're playing against Ursa, you almost just want to go jump. It's really bad. There are other heroes that DC can pick. Tide has some innate really, really bad matchups. And it's of course because he is a melee hero without any really good mobility or stun or slow. Like Gush is okay, but you generally see Tides not even skilling it until they've either maxed out their other skills or at least have a couple of points in both the Kraken Shield and the Anchor. So Razor, for example, destroys this hero in lane. Cannot do this Tide.
But DC need high ground push.
Timber is also a very good matchup.
Okay.
Yeah,
Their high ground is not that amazing. I was wondering if they're going to pick something more like a Luna and give them some strength just to force down the lane, but I suppose the Timbersaw, if he is tanky enough, they can just kill them all and then push high ground. Let TA do the work.
I think they're trying to just make sure that this Tide Hunter lane is really bad for Tide without supports being there. Luna versus Tide is, I think, Tide favored, actually, because Luna has short range, so you can hit her with Anchor Smash all the time. So you want to make sure that the guy who's playing against Tide wins that lane so hard that the supports are free to do whatever they want. Because then, for example, now there's a Shadow Fiend pick. The support duo of Abed, the support duo on the side of DC to help Abed in mid against the Shadow Fiend can actually even tri lane mid if they want. So they know this Timber is going to win the safe lane really hard.
Does anybody have that feeling of like I was expecting somebody taller than Shadow Fiend when he's in this screen? Like the Rubik appears to be a giant next to the Tide Hunter, and then you've got OP as this little tiny little SF.
Is that your opinion as an expert on full HD with color?
Yes. This isn't a dream sim.
I agree very much.
This
looks very strange. Timbersaw is like this tiny little kid.
Yeah. It's just...
Timbersaw is so little. Look at that. How are you gonna be scared as Tide Hunter going into lane against this Timbersaw? You're gonna like poke him with your thumb, and then he has to run away.
He's hitting you with sandcastles. Sand armor.
I didn't even think about this until now. This looks so strange.
But it's obviously the way they've done.
Cut. Well, that's this hero. Shadow Fiend. You know? I don't know. That's I haven't even noticed this before now, and now you've just ruined this loading screen.
I'm sorry.
You've just broken it.
Sorry.
I can't take it serious anymore.
Hey, I blame Day9 for shattering my image of those towers, like the level up towers. Everyone knows what I'm talking about that crap. Alright, predictions. Let's help people here.
Go.
Team with the first tower kill.
Oh, that's a bit harder this time around. So I think the first tower that will fall will be a side lane tower. I think Timber will get the bottom tower first. If he's against Tide, he's going to cut between the towers, just kill the waves all the time, and eventually get that tower. I'll go with DC.
You know, just to be different, I'm going to go with Invictus Gaming.
That's good.
I actually feel like
right.
their strength in the mid is going to be good to push it there. Player with the least deaths.
Timber or Weaver maybe this game could be good choices. I feel like Weaver might. That one is actually really hard.
Yeah.
When I look at it, I think it's difficult to just.
Yeah, I believed in Burning last time, so this time I'm not going to believe in him. I'm going to believe in Mason.
So you pick the Timber.
I'm going to pick the Timber.
Okay, I'll do I'll do TA this time.
You'll do TA?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a pretty.
Player
good
with the
choice.
highest net worth by 25 minutes in as TA.
TA or Shadow Fiend. But I think TA will have a better time mid.
TA will get more because she's also farming the Ancients.
Yeah, I think TA will win this one.
And Smoke Gang kills. I see this game being a lot more passive early on, so I'd only say
it's not numbers of smoke used.
Yeah, it's actually
just
successful ganks. I'm going 0-2.
Yeah. It's 25 minutes though.
Yeah, but how many smokes are you going to see?
Oh, I need to guess. I'll do 0-2 as well.
And then end with kills.
0-2.
Wow. Alright. Well, good luck everybody. We tried to help you. So, OP and Burning, they're going to be up at the top lane. They did make a bit of an incursion into the northern side of the DC territory, but What they ended up getting from that was actually double runes. So Burning's actually managed to get 2 runes already onto this Weaver, which will give him a full magic wand for the top lane. Forev's the man on the defense. He's already done 1 fissure block. I think he's actually blocking so hard that Creep Wave's almost in range of the tower, but not quite.
Meanwhile, this again, mid lane is the lane to watch here in the start. They're doing this like 2-on-2 more or less. Bobica and
surprised he actually went for Impale and not just like straight up Mana Burn against the TA. Mana Burn's been everything Nyx Assassin's been picking against the TA.
Oh, it's been against TA?
Sorry, not against TA, against all mids.
Yeah, TA against TA, I can see both being good. The nice thing about Impale in this lane is because it allows Shadow Fiend to connect HellRaisers when he hits level 2 and 3. It's not expected. Okay, well, if they're just flat out dual laning and just sharing experience, Bobica's actually going to level 2 in a moment. There's going to be double waving here.
They're underneath the tower. Bobica actually took a little bit of damage because he stopped Bulba from doing the Ancient stack. But then he also tanked the Granite Golems, which brought him down to 50% HP. So he's slowly working his way up, and he's got 1 Tango charge left. And Arbet's just trying to Psyblade him down. Bobica's doing a good job of not taking the aggro of the tower.
Yep. This is, I think I mentioned this on a cast yesterday. This is called double waving. It's a fairly new concept that teams have started using in this patch now that there's more creeps in the mid wave. You want to push your opponent into the tower like this. That was a very big win for IG because Abed lost multiple CS under the tower, and he had to use his salve because there were so many creeps, which allowed OP to play very aggressive onto Abed situation. This mid lane is going a lot better for the Shadow Fiend than I thought it would.
It's going even better for the fact that Bobica's been such a nuisance. He is stalking the Night Stalker, making sure that there is no stacks, then catching out Abed with the Mana Burn. Do they have something else? No. It was the short-range raise that was left for OP that didn't connect on the Templar Assassin, because it was never fired.
I think we shouldn't have picked Abed, Toby. This is already looking rough.
Yeah.
2 minutes in, no way! No way he's gonna have the highest net worth minute 25 like this.
I'm sorry, let's just call GG a draft. It's over.
Nah, but this mid lane is going, I don't think on paper that it should be going this well for this lane. Shadow Fiend Nyx is definitely good, but TA Night Stalker, I think the Bulba's focus on these Ancients might have been a little bit too early compared to just standing in that mid lane and trying to trade hits with the Nyx, for example, to just create space for Abed. Instead, what ends up happening now is that Shadow Fiend is quadding him up minute 3, and he's going to keep farming. And the TA can't really come back in the lane very well by now.
It actually looked like Bobica should have blocked that camp. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but this box, it comes down far enough, like, just in this area there.
Oh, you can stand there.
Yeah, he just tried and it didn't work.
I think there's a bit of debris there. You can't...
So you can't be on the exact block point?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you can't block that from outside. Because else we would probably see players trying to put wards down there as well. But I don't think you can put a ward there.
Yeah, but Bulba was able to get the first stack, so it took him a while. But we also saw yesterday, like with OG, with that one little banisher that decided to not move. Like you can miss the first couple of blocks, but it's okay later on.
Yeah.
It's Templar Assassin. She's always going to play the good catch-up game. And how Shadow Fiend stack's actually looking. Bobica's moving up to do that for his team now. But he's been blocking more than stacking. And Bulba's even going to steal the rune from XSS.
Yep. Now it's nighttime. And this is when Night Stalker... Bulba's first 4 minutes have not been that good, in my opinion. This mid lane was very unsuccessful for them. He only got 1 stack off on the Ancients, and now he's level 2, minute 4.
They're running in towards
He has
mid
a
lane.
DD, though.
Yeah, but look at the TP support coming in.
not
Q's already walking in. Bobica TP's in to make sure he's there right at the start of the fight. And that means there is no fight. Unless they get to pick up an Arbed, which they're going to. Q's there. They get to pick up the throw down. Feybolt's available, and Q will use it to secure the kill onto Arbed. That seemed to be just staying a little bit too long in an area where he had no vision.
This is actually a crazy beatdown. It's like...
TA is 7-2 against the 37-27 of OP.
So I think this lane in isolation nowadays favors TA until level 3/5 for Shadow Fiend, but because of how much the Nyx accomplished in the first 2 or 3 waves, the Shadow Fiend is just like snowballing out of control here. And when I picked the TA for these categories, I thought that whatever pressure was going to be put mid by IG, they could offset with this Night Stalker, but it just really hasn't worked. And I can't tell you if it's because Bulba misplayed the lane or if this is just how it goes down. But I feel like no matter what, it should never be this bad. Like this is an extremely impressive display from IG in that mid lane. And DC will have to find some way of catching up already. Like this, you can't play TA like this.
See, I don't know if it's just down to Bulba. It's the fact you're running this support Batrider. He rotates in, like when you see Rubik rotate in, working with the next assassin. They've got control into stun, buying time for OP to pump out all of his damage. You rotate a Batrider and you've got stickiness, and then you've got a little bit of muteness. And
that's actually a pretty good point. What if they just started the Batrider mid instead, and Night Stalker bottom to pull? And then Dubu just is in there putting sticky napalm on them, being super annoying against this Nyx and Shadowfiend all the time, and then that secures TA the CS. I think that would have been a better approach if this is what Night Stalker could contribute in mid. Because Dubu has just been bottom and pulling, and that lane plays itself. Timber can't lose. Timber, there's no way he loses this. So you look at how far ahead Mason is. It's like the mid lane.
And he's actually doing it now. So what you're talking about, the creep skipping, pushing into the tier 1 tower, but SF's rotating over. The Observer Ward is scouting this, however. And thanks to sticky napalm from Dubu, it reveals the fact. So congratulations, Syndran, you are right once more. Digital Chaos take the first tower.
I think this might be the only one I get right this week. We could get this
stand up on top lane. Forev in trouble, gets the fissure off. Spy Carapace holds him there. And Burning will find the kill onto Forev.
That's a lane we haven't talked about too much either, but this is a very nice matchup for Weaver. This is a very Weaver-favored lane. Weaver versus Shaker. You're very mobile. You have this constant harass onto the Shaker, and then if you even have support backup, this is a very easy lane to play for Burning. Forev is doing pretty good though. I think he's level 5.5, 7 minutes in, has 16 CS. That's pretty much all you can ask for in this lane of Shaker, I think. So
it's done decently. The fact that we probably both would lost because we're looking at the SF, we're looking at the TA. The highest net worth at the moment is actually Mason.
Yep.
He's 200 to 300 in front of the Shadowfiend.
Got that tower bounty as well.
Yep.
He's very rich down here. The problem is this matchup is not that great for Timber anyway. Shadowfiend is one of the heroes that can hit so hard and has mixed damage types, so it's not that easy for Timber to auto-itemize. You know, there's these mid heroes like Puck where you're just like, okay guys, I got Hood. What's he gonna do?
Burning.
But SF both hits and nukes hard early
Paul
on.
was gonna run back. OP as well as Q smoked underneath the Radiant Observer Ward. So Digital Chaos are fully aware of what's going on, and they're making the most out of it. They're getting Arbed back into the farm kind of play. That Observer Ward's finally going to time out on their ancient area, so they may think about stacking that once more. He just lost the DD.
Yeah. It's hard though. I think he's has to be a bit cautious going to that rune anyway. When you know there was this smoke play and they were trying to set it up, he's gonna be a little bit worried about getting picked off. Still really good stacks though. It's 8 minutes in and there's only been one stack made for this TA. That's very surprising to me after how hard of a game he has early on. They really need to secure Abed this comeback by making some stacks for him, but doesn't seem like he's prioritized very much by the DC lineup.
Yeah, Tide, you knew that was not the play. Looks like you just wanted to get some extra levels. Gets hit by one Whirling Death of Mason and drops to 50% of HP.
Yeah. I wasn't kidding when I said this lane
is garbage.
What are you supposed to do this Tide?
Oh, look at that stack that Q's got. And if Templar Assassin knew what was going on here, and they actually both get the stacks off. This maybe is actually the best thing that DC could do. Come up with Mason and try and contest the stacks of the SF. Don't let him take the Ancients. Because it's the only way I think they're going to get the Templar Assassin enough money to get back into this game. And they did see it. The Batrider went up. He didn't see the full stack, he just saw a little bit of it. But then again, like, do you think they even have enough power for this?
Dubu. That was not the play, I think.
He's sticky napalmed onto Q. Now Bobica's going to come in. Spy Carapace holds him there. They get all the chain stuns they want, and Q will take his second kill out of the 3 of Invictus Gaming.
At the rate this game is going, IG seems to be in a very comfortable spot. This time they don't have the super farming Alchemist, but they have the Shadowfiend, and they have way better stacks. They have way better early laning. And their lineup scales very nicely. As I mentioned, the Shadowfiend matchup against Timber I think is pretty good overall. Shadowfiend is also one of the heroes that likes going Silver Edge, so you can get that natural counter to the Timber Song. And the Tidehunter overall is just doing quite a bit better than Shaker as well. And that's... It's not that surprising because he had this more or less one-on-one matchup bottom, but I don't think that this is what DC were aiming for. I don't think they were like, okay, going in, it's okay if Tide gets stuffed because our Shaker can fall behind the Tide a bit, that's okay. If that was the thought process, then it's because both Templar and Timber are doing well.
Yeah.
In this case, it's only really one of them that's having a good time.
Yeah, if TA was doing well, like the first rotation we saw really out from the mid was OP moving out with the Rubik. It could have been the other way around. Now the Tidehunter is tanking the Ancient, so OP can do actually nothing. They're giving all the money to the Tidehunter.
Yeah.
Maybe for an early mech, for an early strong lineup from IG, or do you actually look for the team fight? Do you look for something else? Do you look for a Blink Dagger?
This is a really good Greaves game. I think that's the item of choice, yeah. He can break the Night Stalker Silence to make sure he gets the Ravage off. He can give his team armor against this TA. It's a very good choice in this game, I think.
And DC's giving a lot of space to Bulba. So we talked about like the Bat Rider taking up the mid. Now it's the Night Stalker during the daytime. He's doing it, and Nabe's just gone full jungle. He's got his Blightstone. He's not going to complete up the Desolator. He's going to go into Blink Dagger first. Does not feel confident enough just to run at them and fight.
Yeah, I'm not so sure in these situations. TA is not a hero I play, really. What the thought process should be in these situations. Like, if you have a bad early game, do you think, okay, in order to come back, I need to fight? They will force me to fight, so I'll get a blink, so I at least have a chance of fighting. Or, my hero is just weak, I need to catch up. I have to go Deso first to try to catch up that way and do some more damage to buildings when I get the chance. I think there's no, like, standard thing to do. I feel like it varies a lot what players do, and it's more like player preference. But this game, the Blink Dagger... I don't know. I feel like he's just going to keep falling behind the Shadow Fiend like this. He's never going to truly catch up if he doesn't have an item that allows him to farm very fast. Blink, the move speed helps a little bit. I would guess.
Maybe it's more of it's a gang squad instead. Like, you work with the Night Stalker, you work with the Bat Rider.
Yeah, he has synergy with his teammates, but the problem is just that he actually, with only a Blink Blightstone, you don't kill a hero like Tide or Nyx or this fat Shadow Fiend. You
kill Rubik and that's it.
Yeah, I don't think you find these kills anyway. That's the thing. Not the way IG has been playing and the way these lanes worked out. But we'll see how it goes down.
Oh, Nightwish. When was the last time you saw a Midas on a Tidehunter?
Oh, he's going Midas.
He's going Midas.
OP found a kill. He attacked the Bat Rider and then he died.
And that's all she wrote.
There were 2 HellRaisers too. Let's not exaggerate here. But it's a support Bat Rider level 5 minute 12:30 against a level 11 Shadow.
Oh, they pick up, they throw back at Mason. Ravage will be committed. Do they have enough with the Sun's control? Timbersaw needs to chain himself away from this one. He has his 1 charges to stay alive. Not to mention reactive armor. So Ravage is blown. They really committed hard for that Invictus Gaming, and they did not get enough.
Close to a kill there, but yeah, like you said, good 1 charges, and maybe IG mistimed that a little bit. It was pretty close to perfect. Maybe that could have worked out, but still, Ravage being on cooldown is a fairly big deal. It lets DC know that for the next 2 minutes, these team fights are not going to happen. They're actually going to try for a move on Burning here. Good fissure, but there's no silence.
Oh, they got the dust. That may just be enough. The silence comes, but it may be too late. As remember, time lapse still available now. Silence wears off and Burning is away.
Yeah, that was not the way to make that play.
Oh, Boba, he actually gets Barev caught out. Perfect Vendetta hit into the follow-up stuns. Then they move towards Bulba. This just seems to be too easy for Invictus Gaming. DC are Pinata tied to the IG post.
Yeah, the reason this goes as wrong as it does is that there seems to be like a misunderstanding in how they're going for this gank. The Shaker Fissure is done to set up for Night Stalker to fly in and use silence, but instead he's running to the left, so they kind of waste the fissure. They have to dust during Shikuchi, so Weaver creates space, and then he's far enough away to just get out. So sometimes these communication errors are really costly, and it basically turned what looked to be a guaranteed kill into 2 deaths simply because they didn't coordinate their spells correctly. And, you know, those mistakes will cost you fights, and sometimes they will cost you games. DC need to find some sort of momentum, because right now, after that game 1 and the way these first 14 minutes have gone, they are they're getting beaten really hard in this game.
Bulba has something at least up his sleeve. The fact he's got the Invis rune. OP's coming down to the cover of Shadow Blade, but again, they get the pick up over on Mason, throwing him back as OP gets a little bit distracted by Bulba. The Chakram from Mason, able to do some work.
That Tide is going Greaves now, but it looks like at least the mech after this Midas. I kind of like this Midas purchase in this game just because it shows how IG understand what position they are in the game. Like, they have this feeling, okay, we won mid super hard, their Shaker is not doing too well, their supports are weak, we can greed as much as we want, and they can't punish us. That's basically the reason it looks. So, OP, gonna get eyed up by Dubu, but he can't really go for him.
Yeah, I think he's being more of that cautious. I will be the scout for Mason. If I die, it's fine. If Mason dies, it's a disaster.
Yep.
And another good deep observer ward. I say that just as Q somehow just senses that it's there and gets rid of it. So they needed that. I was going to let them know just how heavily SF was committing to farm.
Still a trap at least. I see him farming on there, but the problem right now is just that DC's lineup can't really make moves. The TA blink helps, but their supports are... He doesn't look too hot here.
Bobica's stalking them. Arbed's nearby. Q gets a pick up. The throw down into the follow-up stun. Fissure is nice, however, so maybe Bobica. Spike Carapace creates a little bit of extra space. Arbed doesn't have his melt available until now, and he'll use it to execute Bobica. And they want more. Mason knows he needs more. The Chakram to slow down Q. A quick silence is actually the one stolen off Bulba, but Q cannot escape his fate. Mason will find the kill, and that is much needed.
Yep, good counterplay. They set that up. Very quick reactions. The whole team came in. It's been difficult for DC to find openings where they get the picks. Batrider isn't even close to a blink. Nightstalker had a bad early game, and then the other three cores, especially the Shaker, really needs a blink dagger before he's able to very easily look for kills. Then you had that TA just farming, and Timbersaw kind of, you know, wants his team to set him up. Yeah, he's not the ones who set up the kills most of the time. So very good for them that they get this counterplay at least. That should result in the top tier 1 tower as well. So getting a bit of momentum here.
It's Arbed space too. Like, he came up, he finished up the Ancients, which Invictus Gaming had started with the SF. So it's quick, it's efficient farming. They're slowly clawing their way back in. They were about 6,500 net worth behind. Now it's dipping below the 5k mark. The experience as well. Invictus Gaming just not having as successful rotations as they've had in the past. I'm not saying it's IG losing control. Oh my god, DC is coming back. But for the moment, things are starting to level out a little bit.
Yeah.
And IG changed that around by taking out 2 tier 1s.
Yeah, their Shadow Fiend is a monster. He got his BKB now as well. He is so farmed on SF. What's his GPM right now?
He's going for Silver Edge straight after. All that strength of Mason can just be stripped away.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It's still not going to be the easiest kill though. It's definitely going to help a lot, but Mason himself, by being this farmed, is still not a very easy kill for that lineup. Especially if he gets a plate mill at some point in his build, so he at least has that guaranteed armor that won't be broken off. The hood has extreme value in this game. It's very good against the first 4 heroes of IG.
Bobica's on the hunt once more.
Doing well.
It's the Batrider as well as Timber on the bottom lane they might have been able to find, but at the same time Invictus Gaming just enjoy this flash farming they've got.
This Tide is so far. Yeah. And that was after a bad laning stage. Keep that in mind. He had a very hard matchup. But XXS has found so much farm. He has the same net worth as TA.
Yeah.
And is running a Midas, so...
That probably says better things for the Templar Assassin. Just for the fact that she's managed to catch up that far.
I guess so, but they were both destroyed in lane, right? And then generally it will be the TA that farms faster, but Tide has been able to keep the pace. And he he's gonna get a Force Staff next, it looks like, instead of the full Greaves. I think a lot of the time I like the build on Tide where you go mech and then you get a mobility item, either Force or Blink. In this game, I think you can make a case for getting the Greaves before that mobility item though, but both options are good. It's mainly about whether he manages to play around the Night Stalker Silence or not.
This smoke gank from DC doesn't really pay off. Invictus Gaming grouped up as 5. In fact, now they're going to do exactly that and smoke as well underneath their own tier 1 tower. Line is drawn to come directly up here, and Abed is the primary target, presenting himself. Vendetta Bobica able to get in closer. So is the Shadow Bladed SF, and they're able to hit the stun as Templar Assassin got.
Yep.
Upside, Newbee able to push out the bottom lane. You got Mason now going towards the top, and they really are just playing this fire and maneuver style matchup. Anything that allows them to escape Invictus Gaming's gank. You lose Templar Assassin, sure, but at this point of the game, it looks like you're just going to get any recovery. Newbee wants to keep the pressure on the bottom lane, does that by creep skipping, gets closer towards his Blink Dagger. Mason's building into his to his Solar Crest.
Yeah, that's good. It needs that armor. We talked about. Oh yeah, some flat armor. Could have been a plate mail, could be this crest. Both items are very good.
And any kind of evasion that can make SF maybe change his item build. But then again, you've still got that that Silver Edge coming.
He's definitely going to be looking toward an MKB.
Mason's
later
gonna get
on
out of here. Chains. Bobica is chasing him. Say goodbye to Newbee. It was only a matter of time. He was really pressuring that bottom lane too far.
It's a very
Bobica sees so
minor
much.
kill.
He sees so much. Rubik's pinging out. Here comes Burning. But Bobica starts over on Forev. He doesn't want to let Forev get that Blink Echo Slam. Instead, it'll be the Fissure into the Totem Stun. Nyx Assassin. Oh, he is going to get further away. No, the Echo Slam's down for Forev. Bomber wants to fly away too. Mason, how much of this can you tank? By the looks of it, quite a lot before he's going to deny himself with the Bloodstone.
Space for Abed to push mid as well. But these Timbersaw Bloodstones are pretty important. He still has 10 to go, so it's not the end of the world, but they would have liked to get at least 2 kills there, probably from those Bloodstones, instead of just 1. They got a BKB charge out of SF, that's something. IG, I think, overall are pretty happy with this. The flow of the game continues to favor them. They're just continuing to rack up items. There's the, what's that coming on the courier? XXS didn't get the Force, he went for a Blink instead. Urn coming out, there's a build-up for what looks to be the Fusel for Burning on the way, and now finally TA has Deso, so just keep our eyes on Roshan. I think that's got to be something that both teams are interested in doing. They both have minus armor, and it could be DC's way back in the game, getting an Aegis and then somehow finding a good fight where they bait that.
It seems like they're like a really good time for Invictus Gaming just to go in. They know Echo Slam's on cooldown, they've still got their Ravage available.
Yeah, I think.
Abed's going to add the pressure towards the mid-tier 1 town first, find a target. Like I said, he can kill off 1 target easily, and that'll be the Rubik. Helps when Bulber and Mason catch him out, and they're going in. IG, they're down a player with no buyback available, a 23-second window. And thanks to that full Solar Crest on Mason, plus just the effect of TA, they've got Roshan down to half-life. The Bugs will come in, they'll have to get rid of him quickly. They know what's going on. Newbee prepping up the Napalm, a 3-man Fissure, actually isolating XXS. He actually has the mech, will commit it. Ravish now being burned, hits over on 2, but Forev will jump in, keeps on the Templar onto the Tidehunter. He needs to go down. Mason able to do it, no buyback available. Tipper chain away, get away from that Requiem of Souls, and just bail. Q is into the middle of the fight. Mason cannot chain away in time, but Q chains him down instead. Invictus Gaming burning big abilities, but they do stop Digital Chaos from finishing Roshan.
This could still end up being a DC Roche, though. All their heroes are respawning, they're shrining up. They're going to re-engage into this pit, I think, when all of them are coming in. They know there's no Ravage, no Tide for 20.
They now have their Echo Slam up as well.
No BKB Requiem. Yeah, this is a really good outcome for DC overall, I think. I mean, they would have probably liked it to go a bit better than that, but they didn't have to buy back any single hero. They're getting the Roche, and they got an even fight. And this is big stuff for them, getting this Aegis in the hands of TA. Now TA can play aggressively. in these fights he has to play like very cautious because like, oh, if I get ravaged or get caught in the stun, I can just get blown up by Requiem. Now he can lead the fight, and that's big because he has the ability to force key cooldowns by just going in on his own.
Yep. Especially if IG start to gravitate towards him, then his protector forever almost becomes the bodyguard to Whitney Houston. Like all he has to do is just stick behind the Templar Assassin, jump in for Echo Slam, and they can get an instant kill on whoever tries to go on the TA. Not to mention, he's now going to have even more maneuverability. That money for Forever really started to kick in. He's got enough almost for a 4-staff.
Very good item on Shaker in general, and it's good this game. There's a couple of key uses. He can counterplay telekinesis. He can get people out of Spy Carapace range, save people from Requiem. Very good item.
Everyone actually dodged Requiem pretty nicely too.
Yeah,
apart from Mason. Like Mason was just caught in no man's land.
DC played that very nicely, the way they spread out their heroes and just played like the periphery of the fight, took advantage of their outnumbering. So, right, let's see.
Here in the Invis, it's burning. Okay, not Shikuchi close enough to Forever. He's already backed off, and Mason's pushing the top tower. They'll be very happy if they can just get a tier 2 for tier 2 here, even though Mason's tower pushing abilities is pretty ass. Especially compared to OP and Burning teaming up on that tier 2.
Yeah, tower trade here is okay for DC. When you have the Aegis, you would like to, you know, gain on the map, but realistically, they're still behind in the game. So, being able to trade, as you said, when they're pushing power isn't that good with TA farming. That's pretty alright for them. Now, as far as IG goes, I think this went a little worse than what they were expecting this last 5 minutes, so they're probably going to change their pace a little bit now. Maybe play a little slow again until this Aegis is out, try to get another key item. Looks like Tide is going for a Halberd. SF working on Manta style. Very good item against TA. It's a classic thing to see from ranged carries to do against TA. He's getting the Manta style more or less only to break refraction. It obviously has good stats for ranged heroes, but you know, a hero like Shadow Fiend, we don't necessarily see Manta style on that often anymore. There's other items that you like to get, but most of the time it is the choice against Templar.
Ensure there's no defensive shields.
Yes, simply you just pop your Manta, you send your Mantas on the TA in the fight, and that gives kill potential. Obviously has secondary advantages here, like he can break out of the Night Stalker Silence, he can deal somewhat with Sticky Napalm, but he already has BKB for that. So you could say it's a bit of an overkill instead of going, for example, Heart Damage or Butterfly. Butterfly would have a lot of merit here, right? Like, that would be your classic, oh, I'm doing well, I have BKB, I'm gonna just use this Flutter to go in aggressively and hit people or have the defensive capability of the evasion.
Yep.
But Manta, I think, in this game, is probably the best choice, so I like this from OP.
Well, this game may go for a little bit longer than at least I was expecting after the first part of this game when we saw TA being shut down. TA has now managed to climb herself back up to the second highest net worth on the field.
Yeah.
13.2k to the 15k of the Shadow Fiend. It's like Invictus Gaming is starting to drop off.
This is definitely within reach for DC again.
Their supports are still poor as crap, but it doesn't really matter once Bulba just triggers Darkness, then they kind of already got the advantage they're looking for. And you see what Bulba's doing. Like we were talking about this yesterday, where a lot of Night Stalkers would move away from picking up the Aghanim Scepter, just because it's a little bit too much. But I think Bulba's understood that his influence in these fights is just going to be vision.
Exactly. The thing that Night Stalker does nowadays is generally goes pipe or crest first to have more teamfight presence. But if you're this poor, your contribution is probably better found by simply playing as a scout. So you know, at this point he could start buying a crest. He could get a medallion now. That's just, you know, medallion minute 28, really. And they already have a crest on Timber.
Look at IG. They don't want to fight this. Like, they don't want to have to burn a Ravage for a Templar Assassin who has an Aegis the Immortal. She just took 1/3 of your tower HP, and you know Forev's just sitting out the back, waiting for the perfect time to attack. There's not that much longer left on the Aegis the Immortal. In fact, it's only like 20 seconds now. So it may just be enough where DC, like, you're okay, back out. We did what we came to do. We forced IG to defend their high ground. And now IG smoke.
This could... If DC stick together and break this smoke, this is their way back to evening out the game entirely. They managed to see this opening. Oh, it just expired? Okay,
Yeah, it
that's
just
the time.
expired.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the reason why they backed out. And IG, who are they going to find? Mason. It's a short-range chain. Bobica would have to go for a blind stun. Didn't have vision on the other side of the tree line to use.
That's not the kill they want to go for.
Really
Really
the one they're
difficult.
not going to get.
Yeah. They want Abed, if they can. His 10-second BKB is really, really important.
They find Bulba.
Yeah.
But no one else is around. Not close enough. Q's already starting his TP out.
They got a bit of aggressive wards out. They got this very good ward on the high ground, and they got a ward down into... Oh, the ward in the Radiant jungle is actually pretty old. And now Bobica placed one inside his own jungle, so IG are trying to just get reads anywhere they
Did
can.
they just smoke on top of the ward?
Don't think so. I think they smoked above it.
OP is right on top of the Radiant Obs. It's the one big vision blink lasso. The dust, it is able to reach OP just on the max range. And Shadow Fiend will fall. A huge streak to end, and the money goes the way of Abed.
Very big kill. 1 minute on the sidelines. He doesn't even have buyback. They can actually high ground.
But they don't know this. We
They
have
don't
this
know.
information. They don't.
They don't, but at the same time, if they can force that buyback and lose 1 or 2 heroes, that is worth forcing a buyback for it. The Shadow Fiend buyback is so expensive right now for him to use, so they must be thinking, okay,
He's short by 65 gold.
if they saw he had the Yasha, they might connect the dots here and be like, okay, he might not have buyback, guys, he just bought a Yasha.
They're pinging bottom. I think they're a little bit indecisive. Do you want to go in through mid? Do you want to go like through the bottom tower, which is already pretty damn injured? Shadow Fiend refuses to buy back. At least this is going to be the perspective for Digital Chaos, so they'll keep their pressure up. XSS putting himself very aggressively on the front lines, trying to dissuade from the attack, while Q attacks from behind. And they're pinging. They want to keep going. This is Mason just saying, guys, focus the tier 3 tower. We can actually make one hell of a dent in the IG space. SF's up in 5 seconds time. Timber Chain's going to miss thanks to the Fissure stun stolen from the Rubik. And they've done their damage and they've got out.
Very nice defense from IG. The way they organized this was beautiful. Q came in from the back with haste, stole Fissure, kept Shaker at bay and kept him busy. The Tide blinking into Anchor Smash and just running away. DC got scared for a moment, he was going to Ravage, so they hesitate a little bit. He slows down their push a lot with his minus damage. Everyone just contributed whatever little bits and pieces they had to that defense, and as a result, they didn't lose the tower.
I'm kind of surprised that TA's... Okay, she's changed her mind multiple times now. Originally, I was thinking you'd be looking for some kind of like silence control against the Tidehunter or like something like that. Then he was going straight dataless. Now is to solve Cure Us for Abed. DC are having the confidence where maybe they can win the armor war and then push high ground.
AC is going to make it faster to hit buildings for the entire team, so if they get in that position, that's a better choice. Bloodthorn has some merits here. It's very good against Nyx. It's very good against Weaver. It's good against Tide until he gets Greaves, but it seems like he's not interested in that for whatever reason. I would like to see him finish the Greaves. I think they're very good this game still, but it's the hit factor that people often forget about with Greaves is how good the aura is when people drop low. When you're playing against heroes like TA that can make a world of difference for like your Shadow Fiend surviving an extra hit or two. Maybe your Nyx manages to get Carapace off because of it. Nothing like that.
Digital Chaos are coming to knock on the bottom door. And Invictus Gaming, they're already having to react to it. The Radiant scan doesn't peak. Tidehunter is just... Okay, now it does. It pings for a moment. But their Observer Ward scattered out. XSS moving to the bottom lane. And Abed's already out. He wants to finish his farm. I still didn't think we'd be in this game. And the fact that Invictus Gaming is still holding like a 6.5 grand advantage in net worth and close to the same on experience, and it's Invictus Gaming who are on the defense. They're the ones having to always worry about, like, what are we going to lose to DC?
Yeah.
Until the next Roshan fight.
They're playing the map well, but it's still, if you look at this kind of tendency in a graph, that is the graph of a team that lost an advantage. You know, it's like, you could argue, yes, they're still holding a 6k lead, but when you have a 6k lead that early and it never grows anymore, then the enemy team has successfully come back in the game, right? Like, the flow of the game has completely changed. That graph could have maybe continued toward 10k, and then who knows, maybe this game could have already been over. But DC made some very good moves, and IG maybe a mistake here or there that allowed it in. And now, Abed is top network.
He starts with the Eul Scepter, follows up with the stun. They really want to bring down Mason. He had some already reactive armor charges up, so a 4-star's down. Forever trying to get him out of range. They'll commit the Ravage as well. Lasso dragging out OP while he's in the BKB. Now lets the Requiem of Souls fly. Bulba clipped on the edge of it, and Wings will go. OP, double kill for him, and Invictus Gaming finally having more of a one-sided fight they've been looking for a very long time.
Yeah, that was they weren't really in a position to help Mason. He was stranded out too far on his own there, and then afterwards, when they try to help him, it gets even worse. Like that's one of those classic moments with the help a friend syndrome, right? Where you're like, oh, let's go help him, and then one guy tries to help. Oh, now I need help, go help me, and then they end up losing 3 heroes and a Roche instead of a Timber. And this Roche would have probably not been lost if they only lost the Timber. They could have delayed it with the Batrider being annoying, with TA traps, with just like fissures and stuff, but now it's gonna go the way of IG, and now they are the ones holding a really big lead.
Yep. Aegis Steamwall into the hands of the Shadow Fiend. Burning has the cheese in his backpack for the moment. And this has to be back to the old strat for DC. It has to be evasion now. Just move away from where Invictus Gaming are forcing the issue. They still have to wait for the Ravage to come back up again. That's another 74 seconds before it's available. Without that, they won't feel as confident in the team fight. Mason would have survived if that Ravage wasn't there. Now you get the Assault Cuirass done for Abed. Maybe that's the other menu we should be looking towards. Who's actually expending their buyback money?
Tide has Refresher in a moment. So farmed. Oh my god.
I wonder if you just, like, say you just sell Iron Talon, pick up Refresher. Or just buy a straight Refresher. That'll work. 4-man smoke, they come for the gank. They don't have the Refresher on him yet. It's still sitting back in his stash.
Yep.
But it's like they're looking for the wraparound. DC are the ones who are also being aggressive, going into the dire jungle. They'll see the camps of farms. They may believe that someone's around here.
Oh, this would be a good courier snipe if Bulba could get that.
Does the dire scan actually hit? No, it doesn't. I thought for a moment that Forever would move fast enough that he'd go into it, finds an Invis rune, now moves up, the smoke's gonna break, they realize that somebody is there, and the vision advantage is there for Invictus Gaming. This Invis rune is gonna work wonders for a 4-man fissure, and the Echo Slam follow-up! A huge hit! Abed's already got 2 of them down. OP, Requiem of Souls, able to negate a little bit of the damage, but not enough of it. Abed, it's the dream fight for him, moves over towards Mobica, the Spike Carapace saving his life at the end. Earthshaker, he's trying to finish the job. The stun's not making it easy, but the totem hit will do the work. They'll move their attention towards OP, and a huge fight. Invis rune clutch moment, and DC slamming Invictus Gaming down.
It seems like DC just needs the disadvantage in the game, and then they get a good move going. Can't really explain that. That was such an amazing setup. The Invis rune from Forev just paying off wonderfully there, moving and breaking the smoke, getting information, and then a very quick, good reaction on that fissure move.
And then they get the buyback on the Shadow Fiend, the expensive one you were talking about, and they're isolating the Tide Hunter, looking for the kill. Thanks to a quick push out, XSS will survive, but the mid-tier 3 falls. Weaver's up in a second. They'll get the Rubik pick up on the Templar assassin. Refresher just to get the Ravage off. Abed's low, pushing him up in range of the tier 4 towers. He can't escape. The Gem of True Sight is also lost because of this push, and Mason is 1-on-4. Timber is tanky, but not that tanky. Maybe it's enough when he dodges the Impale. He's got chained back off cooldown Shivas as well, but Rubik, that's the second time this game he's stolen Timber Chain and killed Timbersaw with it. But the Gem of True Sight sitting smack plumb between the racks will now be recovered by IG.
That's just the power of lack of information. There's no way DC play like this if they know Tide has a Refresher, but they didn't have the information. They went for this high ground push. They were feeling really good, no Ravage, and then out of nowhere comes a Refresher, pop, instant Ravage, and they kill the TA, and that fight's just over. IG now.
TA has to buy back.
I'm not sure he does. I think he really doesn't want to, at least.
That's definitely true. I don't think anyone wants to buy back at this position, but like OP bought back, they just defended their mid-racks, plus got kills to boot.
I think it's more valuable to have the buyback than Slain of Barracks at this point. It's 38 minutes in, you know that the Shadow Fiend doesn't have one, so if you're one buyback up on a key hero and you can kill the SF,
so you just let it go?
You have that play, yeah.
Oh, Dewberry.
They also wouldn't have had the Timber anyway, even if TA buys back.
Looking for that exit pick. If they can get anything, they've got the vision. Mason, Chakram forward, doesn't actually connect on Bobrick, who just triggered his spike Carapace for this one, and they find OP. The lasso is there! Echo Slam! Barev's doing it again! But the damage output is still not enough. Mason is trapped. He'll go down. Now Templar Assassin brings in the deeps. Barev's looking for another crack, but he doesn't have the mana. Op-Ed's gonna fall. Bulba would join him in the grave. Digital Chaos, they thought they had what it took, but the tanks were dry. Bone dry.
If they had the TA for that jump, that would have been probably game. I think DC would have won the game there just by killing the Shadow Fiend a second time. He would be out for 2 minutes. IG would have a horrible time, but this excellent connection from DC just isn't enough when their main damage dealer isn't available. Abed was still TPing in on the shrine, had to connect from the right, so this entire stun duration and all this lockdown is, at the end of the day, it's wasted. It's not enough. They get heroes low, but doesn't matter when they don't die.
Yep.
And
now picked up by Q, straight blink into him, the fissure again. Forever's done so much work in this game to keep his team in, but thanks to the stolen fissure, Dewberry was just locked in position, allowing Bobrica to finish the job. 2 lanes of racks gone, and GG is called. Invictus Gaming will take the series 2-0 against Digital Chaos.
This game got a lot more interesting than I thought it would, though. I think DC in both games are showing some really, really good plays here and there. It's just like they seem to be lacking this consistency. Like, there's still a little bit of mistiming and a little bit of, like, they're lacking that little X factor that would have made these fights just swing in their favor a bit more. There were 2 really, really good team fights that they took, and this third one could have been the game-winning one if it was coordinated a slight bit better, or if they had timing a bit more on their side. But at the end of the day, IG will be the ones who are superior, and I think it's fair to say across these 2 games, they were the better team.
Yeah.
They were the better team, but DC definitely... I don't think their current score reflects how well they're playing. At this point, they have 1 win, 1 draw and 2 losses.
Yes, that
But
should be the results now.
their games are not bad. I really don't think so. I think they definitely have what it takes to get a decent placement, at least in this group. If they can just iron out some minor mistakes, then...
Well, we'll see what they can do. They do have more games coming up today. Of course, so do we. Our next cab off the rank will be EG going up against Empire, another team who's been struggling. Empire and EG trying to live up to expectations, falling just a little bit short on day 1. But they'll have a chance to start off their day 2 campaign with a nice bit of strength, because we have more games coming up as well on this.